Tomorrow, Saturday, February 21st, the moon moves into Taurus, and I know that might sound like just another lunar transit, but this one is different, really different. Because this isn't just any Taurus moon, this is the moment where everything you've been building, everything you've been working toward for the past 7 years, finally gets to land. And when I say land, I mean it. I'm talking about tangible results, real payback, the kind of shift where you wake up on Sunday morning and something in your life has fundamentally clicked into place. Does that resonate? Here's the thing. If you've been feeling like you've been working so hard with nothing to show for it, or like you've been planting seeds that just won't grow, I really want you to stay with me on this one, because there's a very specific reason why tomorrow changes everything, and I'm going to break it down for you. But first, I need to explain why this particular Taurus moon is so significant, because right now, at this exact moment in time, we're standing at the end of a massive cosmic cycle, and tomorrow is the day where all of that energy finally touches ground. The 7-year cycle is ending, and you're about to see why it mattered. So let's back up for a second. Since 2018, Uranus has been moving through Taurus, and if you know anything about Uranus, you know it's the planet of disruption, breakthroughs, and complete restructuring. It's been shaking up everything related to our values, our money, our sense of security, basically everything Taurus represents. And for 7 years, it's been this constant process of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You'd think you were finally getting stable, and then something would shift. You'd feel like you were building something solid, and then the ground would shake again, right? But here's what I think most people miss, and this was a huge realization for me. All of that instability wasn't random. It was preparation. It was the universe making sure that what you're building now can actually withstand what's coming next. And on February 3rd, Uranus finally stationed direct after months of retrograde. That was the green light moment. That was the cosmic signal that said, okay, the restructuring is done. Now we can move forward. But moving forward into what? That's where tomorrow comes in. Why tomorrow is different from every other Taurus moon. Okay, so the moon moves into Taurus roughly once a month. That's normal, but tomorrow's ingress is happening at a very specific moment in time. And when you look at everything else happening in the sky right now, it becomes clear that this isn't just another lunar transit. 3 days ago, on the 17th, we had a solar eclipse in Aquarius. That eclipse was like a cosmic reset button, clearing out old patterns, forcing us to see where things were out of balance, pushing us toward authenticity. And if you felt that energy, you know it wasn't subtle. It was intense. Then, just yesterday, literally yesterday, February 20th, Saturn and Neptune came together at 0 degrees Aries. And if you don't know astrology deeply, let me just tell you, this is massive. This conjunction happens once every 36 years, and it hasn't occurred at this specific degree for centuries. Saturn is structure, Neptune is vision, and when they meet at the very beginning of the zodiac at the Aries point, they're essentially saying, everything you've been dreaming about, it's time to build it, for real. So you have Uranus direct, clearing the path, you have the solar eclipse wiping the slate clean, you have Saturn-Neptune giving structure to your dreams. And now, tomorrow, the moon enters Taurus, the sign where it's exalted, where it functions at its absolute best, to receive all of that energy and make it tangible. Does that make sense? It's like the universe spent weeks clearing the runway, and tomorrow is when the plane finally lands. The 3 things landing tomorrow. Based on everything I've been researching and feeling into, I believe there are 3 specific areas where you're about to see real results tomorrow. These aren't random. These are the direct payback for the work you've been doing, sometimes for years, that you might have thought was going nowhere. And if you've been doubting yourself lately, if you've been wondering when things would finally shift, I really want you to hear this, because I think tomorrow might be the day where you finally get your answer. Thing 1, financial stability that actually sticks. Okay, so the first thing landing is money, and I'm not talking about a random windfall that disappears as quickly as it came. I'm talking about a stabilization of your financial foundation, a breakthrough in your material security that has staying power. Here's what I think is happening, and I've been feeling this myself over the past few weeks. Uranus in Taurus has been shaking up our relationship with money for 7 years. Some people lost jobs. Some people had to completely restructure their income. Some people were forced to confront their beliefs about what they're worth. And for a lot of that time, it probably felt chaotic, right? Like you couldn't get solid footing, like every time you thought you had it figured out, something would shift. But now, with Uranus direct and the moon moving into Taurus tomorrow, that chaos is settling, and the things you've been building quietly behind the scenes, they're about to pay off. This could show up in a few different ways. For some people, it's delayed payments finally coming through, work you did months ago that you thought you'd never get paid for. Suddenly, the check arrives. For others, it's a bonus, a raise, or a freelance opportunity that comes out of nowhere but feels completely aligned. And here's something really interesting from what I've been researching. There's this idea of karmic payback happening right now. The South Node is in Virgo, which means work you did in the past, especially service you provided without expecting anything in return, is being repaid, sometimes quite literally. So if you've been the person who always shows up, who does the work even when no one's watching, who gives more than they take, tomorrow might be the day where the universe finally says, "Okay, we see you. Here's what you've earned." And the beautiful thing about this landing, it's not fleeting, because Saturn is now in Aries giving structure to these gains. This isn't money that slips through your fingers. This is the foundation of something more stable and lasting. Does that resonate with where you are right now? Thing 2, relationship clarity that feels like home. The second thing landing tomorrow is in your relationships, and this one is subtle but profound because I think a lot of us have been in this weird in-between space with our connections, not quite sure where things stand, feeling like we're waiting for something to shift. Tomorrow that waiting ends. Here's what's happening astrologically. The day after the Taurus moon ingress, Sunday the 22nd, Venus and Jupiter form an exact trine. Venus is in Pisces, where it's exalted. Jupiter is in Cancer, where it's exalted. So you have these two benefic planets, both operating at their highest expression, creating this incredibly supportive energy around love, connection, and emotional bonding. But it's the Taurus moon on Saturday that sets the stage for this, because Taurus is ruled by Venus, so when the moon enters Taurus, it's like it's preparing the ground for Venus to do her work. And what I think happens is this: relationships that have been in limbo finally get clarity. Partnerships that have felt uncertain suddenly feel solid. The person you've been wondering about? You're about to know where they stand. The relationship you've been investing in? You're about to see if it's real. For some people, this looks like a deepening of commitment, conversations that move things to the next level, agreements that make you feel secure. For others, it's the opposite. A clear recognition that something isn't aligned, which actually feels like relief, because at least now you know. And here's what I really want you to understand. This isn't just romantic relationships. This is friendships, creative partnerships, any connection where you've been putting in emotional labor without knowing if it's reciprocated. Tomorrow you find out, and honestly, I think for most of you, the answer is going to be better than you expected, because the Taurus moon rewards loyalty. It rewards showing up. It rewards the people who stay even when things are uncertain. So if you've been that person, if you've been patient, if you've been honest, if you've been willing to do the hard conversations, this is your payback. You're about to feel seen in a way that makes everything click into place. Has that been something you've been waiting for? Thing 3, the dream that finally becomes real. The third thing landing is the big one, and this is where I get really excited because I think this is what a lot of us have been working toward without even fully realizing it. There's something you've been carrying, a vision, a dream, a project, a version of your life that you've been building toward in secret, sometimes for years. Maybe it's a creative endeavor. Maybe it's a career shift. Maybe it's a way of living that feels more aligned with who you actually are. And for so long, it's existed only in your imagination, only in those quiet moments where you let yourself think about it, only in the small steps you've been taking when no one was watching. Tomorrow, I believe that dream crosses over from the invisible realm into physical reality. This is directly tied to the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that happened yesterday. Saturn is the builder, Neptune is the visionary. And when they meet at the very beginning of Aries, they're essentially saying, the time for just dreaming is over. Now we build. But here's the thing, this isn't about starting from scratch. This is about everything you've already been doing, all those small steps you've been taking, suddenly adding up to something you can actually see and touch. I've been hearing this phrase in my research, 100 days of showing up for your dream, one small step at a time, and I think that's exactly what this is. If you've been showing up, even when it felt pointless, even when you couldn't see the results, tomorrow is when you finally see why it mattered. The Taurus moon is incredibly practical, it's grounded, it's about tangible results, so this isn't just a feeling or a vision anymore, this is something real, something you can point to and say, this is what I built. And the most beautiful part, you're not desperate about it anymore. You're not personally entangled in whether it succeeds or fails. You've done the work, you've built the foundation, and now you're just watching it unfold with this quiet confidence that wasn't there before. Does that sound like where you are? Because I think a lot of people are about to step into that energy tomorrow, and honestly, it's going to change everything. What tomorrow actually feels like. So let's talk about what this might actually feel like when you wake up tomorrow morning, because I don't think it's going to be this huge, obvious moment. I think it's going to be quiet, subtle, but undeniable. You might wake up and just feel different, calmer, more settled, like something that was floating finally anchored, like a knot in your chest that's been there for months just gently released. Or maybe you get a message, an email, a text from someone who's been on your mind, and it's exactly what you needed to hear, even if you didn't know you needed to hear it. Or maybe you look at your bank account and see a deposit you weren't expecting, or you have a conversation that shifts the entire dynamic of a relationship, or you sit down to work on your project and suddenly it just flows in a way it hasn't before. The point is, it won't necessarily be dramatic, but it will be real, and you'll know. You'll feel it in your body. You'll feel it in the way you breathe a little easier, in the way the future suddenly feels less uncertain. And here's what I really want you to remember. This isn't luck. This isn't random. This is the direct result of everything you've been doing, even when it felt like you were getting nowhere. This is the payback for not giving up, for staying true to yourself, for doing the work even when no one was watching. A word of caution, the week after. Now, I do want to give you a heads up about something, because while tomorrow is this beautiful landing moment, the days immediately following it get a little messy. On February 26th, Mercury goes retrograde in Pisces, so while things are landing, the communication and logistics around them might need some adjustments. Don't be surprised if there are delays in paperwork, miscommunications about details, or moments where you need to slow down and double-check everything. And then, on the 27th, Mars squares Uranus. This is volatile energy, it's impulsive, it's the kind of energy where innocent comments blow up into huge fights, or where you make a decision too quickly and have to backtrack. So my advice, let tomorrow be what it is, a moment of receiving, of landing, of settling. Don't rush into the next thing immediately. Don't make huge moves on the 27th or 28th. Just let yourself be with what's arrived. Give it time to integrate. Does that make sense? Because I think the universe is giving you this gift tomorrow, but it's also asking you to be patient with how it unfolds, to trust the timing, to not force things into happening faster than they're meant to. Who feels this the most? Okay, so while everyone is going to feel this Taurus moon to some degree, there are certain people who are going to feel it especially intensely. If you're a Taurus sun or rising, this is your moment. This is the culmination of a 7-year journey of complete identity transformation. You're not the same person you were in 2018, and tomorrow is the day where you finally step fully into who you've become. If you're a Scorpio, this activates your relationship sector in a major way. Partnerships are getting real, commitments are being made, or endings are getting clarity. Either way, you're not in limbo anymore. If you're a Leo, this is hitting your career and public reputation. Something you've been building in your professional life is about to get recognized. People are seeing what you've been working on, and it feels good. But honestly, even if you're not one of those signs, if you've been doing the work, if you've been showing up, if you've been building something real, you're going to feel this. Because this Taurus moon doesn't discriminate. It rewards everyone who's been patient, everyone who's been persistent, everyone who's been willing to trust the process, even when they couldn't see the results yet. And if that's you, I really want to hear what lands for you tomorrow, because I think we're all in this together and there's something powerful about witnessing each other's breakthroughs. What you can do to maximize tomorrow's energy. So you might be wondering, is there anything I should actually do tomorrow, or do I just let it happen? And my answer is both. Let it happen, but also create some space to receive it. Here's what I mean. Tomorrow, try to clear your schedule if you can. Give yourself some quiet time, even just an hour. Take a walk. Sit outside if the weather's nice. Do something that gets you into your body and into the present moment. Taurus is an earth sign. It's about the physical world. So engage your senses, cook something nourishing, light a candle, put on music you love, touch something that feels good, soft fabric, smooth wood, whatever grounds you. And then just be present. Notice what shows up. Notice who reaches out. Notice what thoughts come through. Notice what feels different in your body. You don't need to do anything elaborate. You don't need crystals or rituals unless that's your thing. You just need to be awake to what's happening. To not be so busy or distracted that you miss the moment when something finally lands. And if you want to take it a step further, write down what you've been working toward, not as a wish list for the future, but as a recognition of what you've already done. Make a list of every small step you've taken toward your goals since 2018. Every time you showed up, every time you chose growth over comfort, every time you stayed true to yourself even when it was hard. Because I think when you see it all written out, you're going to realize you've done so much more than you give yourself credit for, and tomorrow is just the universe finally catching up to what you've already built. The bigger picture, this is just the beginning. Here's the thing I keep coming back to, and this is important. Tomorrow isn't the end of anything. It's not like you reach this moment and then everything goes back to normal. Tomorrow is the beginning of a new chapter. It's the moment where everything you've been building finally has a foundation solid enough to support what comes next. Because Uranus is about to leave Taurus in April and move into Gemini, Saturn is starting a whole new cycle in Aries. Neptune is beginning its journey through Pisces and then Aries. We're at the threshold of a completely new era. And what lands tomorrow? That's what you're taking with you into that new era. That's your starting point. That's the platform you're launching from. So this isn't just about receiving a reward. It's about recognizing what you've earned the right to build next. It's about seeing that you're ready, that you've done the work, that you can handle what's coming. And honestly, I think what's coming is extraordinary. I think the next chapter is going to be better than anything you've been able to imagine. But you needed this landing moment first. You needed to see the proof that your efforts matter, that your persistence pays off, that you can trust yourself and the universe to support what you're building. And tomorrow, you get that proof. All right, so here's what I want you to take away from all of this. Tomorrow, February 21st, the moon enters Taurus. And with everything else that's been happening in the sky, Uranus direct, the solar eclipse, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, this moon is acting as a receiver for all of that energy. 3 things are landing: your financial stability, your relationship clarity, your dream becoming real, and all 3 of them are the direct result of the work you've been doing, sometimes for years, that you might have thought wasn't leading anywhere. But it all was, and tomorrow is when you finally see it, so be present, be open, let yourself receive, and know that you've earned this. You really have. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you and you want more content like this, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. And please, drop your experiences in the comments tomorrow and Sunday. I really want to hear what lands for you, what shows up, what finally clicks into place. because I think we're all in this together, and there's something powerful about sharing these moments with each other. Take care of yourself, trust what's coming, and I'll see you tomorrow.